All right, today I am here with a good customer of ours who's worked with us for a while now, Carlos Saez. Carlos, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you? I like to think that we're friends too, not just
That
customers.
that too. Yes, absolutely. That first, actually.
Thank you.
With so Carlos is with Southeast Home Buyers. What market are you guys in currently, so Carlos?
Right now, Florida and Georgia.
Entire states, right?
Entire states. Georgia, mostly Atlanta metro and like surrounding around there, and Florida pretty well spread out throughout everywhere.
Awesome. Okay. How long? So right now, with your guys' business, how it's set up, how many deals are you currently hitting per month? Would you say?
On average, we close about 8 deals a month, so we're hovering anywhere from 6 to 10, but on average, closing about 8 consistently.
Okay, nice. That's more deals than I do a month right now.
It's not enough, but
it never is.
never
But
is.
what is your guys' team structure to kind of handle 8 deals a month? How's your business set up with that?
Yeah, good question. So right now we have, everybody calls them something different, acquisition managers, closers, whatever they might be. So we've got two acquisition agents that answer the phones and take those from hello to contract signed. Then after that, since we're mostly wholesaling, we do, a little bit of lipstick, close on, put things on the MLS. After that, we have a disposition agent. We have an operations coordinator that oversees all the closings, the funding, and all of that stuff. And then also right now we're in the process of hiring a lead manager so that we can up our spend with Ballpoint, ironically, and get more leads in and help us handle more volume. Our biggest thing is our model is to try and make those two acquisition managers as valuable as possible and put as many good opportunities in front of them. And so we're going to put a lead manager in front of them. So we try and keep a lean team and make them as valuable as possible.
Awesome. And these guys, because you guys do virtual deals, right? So
Correct.
these are all people that work from home, I'm assuming.
Yep, work from home from all around the country, and yeah, we rarely ever step foot in any of these homes. We have what we'll call inspectors, people who will go out and view the properties once we've got them under contract, take all the necessary photos, videos, floor plan scans, and put all that data together so that we can then analyze, make sure our offer makes sense, and then put those packets together, put them on our website, and then market them to the appropriate investors based on their criteria.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I don't talk to a ton of people that do that, so it's awesome. How long have you guys been using Ballpoint marketing now?
I think you have to take me to dinner in like January or something. I think that's our 2-year anniversary. It's either December or January, I think, is our 2-year anniversary.
Okay. Yeah, if it's yeah, I think you're right. It's right around 2 years at that point. So
Yeah.
we'll figure something out for sure.
Something nice. I like soup. I like soup and I like steak.
All right, good to know. Um, that's funny. Soup is not the first response I would have thought of, honestly. But
Any
I
any
get it.
weather, any weather, soup. I'm a very strange person. I
I
like
like it.
it doesn't matter the occasion. There's very few soups that I will not enjoy.
That's awesome. I'm the same way. My wife hates it, but that's what
Perfect.
it is.
Perfect. She's not invited.
Yes, there you go. She doesn't like the what does she call it, like soup belly, where it like gets all warm. Is what she calls it. She's like, I don't want soup belly.
That's fair.
And
I can respect that. I don't agree, but I can respect it.
right, yeah, same. I don't agree either, but it's all good. Okay, so back to what we're talking about here. So before working with Ballpoint, because you've been around for a long time doing mail or doing wholesaling, growing your real estate businesses. What kind of challenges were you guys facing with lead generation and business growth before you started working with us?
I think it was a matter of feeling like another number when working with some mail houses, whether that was at our old company, our current company, whatever it might be. And I think that was the biggest shift that I think, I joke about being friends at the beginning. Obviously, our relationship started as clients and then, the bond just kind of formed. But I think the biggest thing in working with you guys and Ryan and everyone is, I think actually when I first called, I realized it was a family business. And that was one of my favorite aspects when I first called. And since then, it's always been, I know I can call, text, email, whatever, actually yell at you when you respond when you're on vacation, the few
Yeah.
times that you do step away. But I know that you guys care as much as I care. And it feels like a synergy in, I want to be successful to make sure that I'm always consistent in mailing and doing all of my things. But I know that you guys want to see that I'm successful so that I can continue to grow my business. And that mutual benefit right there
Yeah.
is not something that you get with every mail house, no matter how big you are, and how much mail you're sending. You could disappear next month, and they won't check on you and say, "Hey, are you sending mail this month? Like, you get hit by a car?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so I think that right there, and me being able to say, "Hey, Justin, I might be having like this challenge, whether it's even like direct mail related or not. I know that you have a lot of clients who are in the same space, or you may have seen something, or you've connected me with other great operators who are able to help me with those things, and that's just not something that you get everywhere. So I think that experience and that level of care is one of those big difference makers. On top of like, our piece is a much better quality. It's there's always that the handwritten touch that's different, but even just the level of like paper when you touch it, it's like you don't know that until you start getting the piece and you feel it and you look at it,
Yeah.
but it does stand out when you get it. And that ability to customize things. And when I come to you with like, hey, I need to implement like 15 different phone numbers, and instead of looking at me like I'm crazy, you're like, hey, yeah, let's figure this out, or let's start talking dynamic QR codes and start talking about all these different things that we need to do. You're just like, yeah, let's figure it out. So I think that's kind of that difference, that
Cool.
I've loved, and probably why we're coming up on our 2-year anniversary and gonna have some soup together.
We'll make it happen. I
Oh, it
haven't been
always
to it.
comes back to always comes back to soup.
Yes, it does. And my youngest brother lives in Atlanta, so I can kill two birds with
Oh,
one
there you
stone.
go. There you
Yeah.
go. There you go.
Uh, or somewhere in Atlanta. I don't know. So I know you've tried a bunch of different marketing channels, and you probably, I would assume, do more than one at this point. But what other marketing channels have you tried, and what have your results been compared to like the direct mail that you've been doing with us?
The longest, shortest answer is direct mail's been the only one that I'm consistent with, if that
Okay.
tells you anything.
Okay.
Um, Literally the only thing that is consistent month over month, because all the other ones, and direct mail has its pros and cons just like anything else, but it's consistent for a reason. And it's been our number one viable lead source for a reason, and gotten a positive return on ad spend for a reason. We have done cold call. Cold call has it is difficult. It is difficult to manage. It is risky from a legal standpoint. Let's just leave it at that. And then also PPC. You and I have talked at length about PPC and the pros and cons that we have had with it. And the pain. I like to say PPC is like a bad relationship that like we keep, going back to the person that hurt us. And it's important. It's important to, I think, have like that one stronghold lead source, and that for us has been direct mail. And it's like we pour the majority of our budget into direct mail and always know that we can expect consistent results because we're consistent with it. We do weekly drops. We never miss. Doesn't matter what's going on. Like, we're coming at it every single month. We're going to do a weekly drop. We're always usually increasing. And then we're dabbling with the other sources and seeing what's working and what's not, and trying to also tie those things into what we're doing in direct mail by uploading our mail files into PPC and tying it all back into that branding. But I'm not just saying it because we're on this call. You've literally seen me deal with PPC and all the
Yes,
struggles and
I
all of
have.
those things. Like, when it works, it's great. When it doesn't, really expensive, and you just
Yep.
watch that go downhill
Go
quickly.
down. Yeah.
Very, very quickly. Those clicks get very expensive very quickly. We're
Mhm.
fighting bots right now. I don't I don't know about any bots in anyone's mailboxes yet. But yeah, we're fighting bots and all kinds of other stuff that comes with it. So it's
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, especially like I don't know how you'd use it for that, but the new ChatGPT agent mode. I don't know if you've played with that yet, but I've used it, and it's like just going on the internet doing things for me. I'm like, that like you can get a ton of clicks from that, I'm sure.
wild,
Yeah,
absolutely wild.
yeah,
Yeah, and at least the mail is a physical thing, and something that we've seen, which is just wild, is how long somebody will hold on to that physical piece
yeah,
of mail. Like some of the
yeah,
stuff that we've tested over time, like older postcards, and back to my 15 phone numbers, for each drop, like we're going back and we're like, this campaign is a year old, and we're getting a lead and getting a deal from it, and it's like you never know when somebody's like, hey, today isn't the time that I want to talk to these people, and then they put it on their fridge, they put it in their drawer, and then they decide, okay, now I want to talk to them. They've still got that physical piece, and there's no other source that's like that. Whether it's door knocking, cold call, PPC, like there's no other tangible item that they're holding in their hand like that. So it's an interesting pro to it.
yeah. And it's funny. Every interview like this I've done so far has said the exact same thing, like
Are you telling me
unprompted.
that I'm not special?
Oh, you're very special.
Okay.
But I have seen that come up multiple times with other people that we've chatted with as well. Is it's just people hold on to it, and it
Yeah.
stands out, and it's different than everything else. So, um, before we met, like when we first talked, almost 2 years ago, you were using another mail house, which we won't bring up who it was. Um, but what were some of the reasons you decided to leave them? Because I know you'd been with them for a while, and to try the handwritten stuff to come over and work with us compared to what you'd been doing for years.
It was, I mean, it was a lack of response rate. It was also back to that feeling like a number. It was almost when it was time to do our mail piece or time to do a drop or time to make a change, it was almost like I was bothering them rather than being a client that was spending significant amount of money every single month with them. And the coolest aspect to me is I try and look at everything. I don't pretend to be our seller, right? And I think that's always like a unique aspect that people forget when you're in this business. The houses that we're marketing to are a little different than the investor who owns the company who's doing the marketing, right? So you try and put yourself in the seller's shoes and what will the seller respond to? What will the seller acknowledge? And when I saw the handwritten aspect of the mail, that was the biggest turning point to me because it had a personal touch to it. And it wasn't just like a printed version of it, which we also test as well with you guys and performs really well. But that handwritten thing truly stands out, and you can't measure open rate with direct mail, right?
Right.
Like we wish we could. You could charge me a ton of money if you can start figuring that part out, but it's trying to stand out in the mailbox in all of the other things. And I know I'm not the only person in their mailbox offering to buy their house for cash. So how else do I stand out? And that was that big thing that stood out. And I want to be a part of that like psychology process too, where it's if they have two printed letters and they look the same on the outside, maybe they look kind of similar, make the same offer on the inside. If they can think that this was a handwritten letter presented by this individual, then I'm coming to them from a more sincere and individual standpoint rather than that mass marketed aspect, which is why we don't mess with certain mailers that I think are more predatory. We really do try, and that's one of the things that we love about you guys. You guys kind of operate in the same way that we do, and it's try and operate the business in a way that's like help as much as you can with these situations, be as delicate as you can, but play into the psychology of what you're trying to do. You're trying to get them to open the letter and acknowledge and give you a call and talk about the possible solutions and ways you can help. And I think the first impact that they're going to have, because I know I do it, so I think about in that sense, I stand at my mailbox and I'm like, trash, open,
Yeah.
trash, open, trash, open. So I try and think when a seller is looking at their stack of mail, which pile is our letter going into that we send them? So I think that the handwritten portion is only going to help and it's not going to hurt. And that big like first thing that got me to call you guys, and then everything after that was kind of like those like cherries on top.
Nice. Okay. Speaking of, how did you end up hearing about us originally? Because it's funny. Other people I've talked to, like they came from coaching groups and stuff like that, but I don't think I even know how you heard about us in the first place.
I think it was MySpace. Is that still a thing?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think it was. I want to say it was Instagram. I think maybe Ryan and I had talked a couple times on Instagram about cars and some other stuff.
Okay.
And it's kind of one of those things like when Jason and I don't post a lot about what we do on our social medias and stuff like that. Like, we kind of keep some of the things separate, but I got to see a little bit of that glimpse, and I may have followed you as well. But I like to do, and you and I talked about it, I think when we first met, like I like to do good business with good people. And that was one of those things where I almost got to get a glimpse into like who you guys were before we got to work with you. And just knowing like, hey, more than likely, based on what I'm seeing, these are probably good guys. All of these other things are cool things that they're doing. Let's see if like they can deliver on all of these aspects. And it's also been cool to see like as we've grown, watching you guys grow as well, and all of the different things that have changed for you guys over the last 2 years, and the things that you've been able to roll out, and the way that your operations have changed. So it's that cool aspect to be able to watch you guys grow exponentially has been fun. But I do believe it was more than likely MySpace, but probably Instagram.
The forgotten about marketing channel of MySpace.
Not
Super
enough people are
effective.
spending money on MySpace. We're probably going to buy a couple deals from MySpace this month alone.
There you
And
go.
the sellers will probably put me in their top 8.
Is that even still a website? I don't even know.
I don't know, but I hope that it is. And I will spend some marketing dollars on MySpace this month and let you know.
Oh, it's so funny. So in the last 2 years, from where you guys were at when you first started working with us to now, how has your business grown?
A lot. I mean, when we first started, I think it was we had maybe we were in one or two markets, and probably doing maybe a quarter of the deals, just enough to kind of, skate by. And it was more of like a, is this going to work type thing.
Yeah.
And it was also a product of the market. The market has been wild the last couple of years, and seeing what works and what doesn't. And I think people underestimate long-term relationships in this business and just in business in general. And I like to look at these things as partnerships. And
Yeah.
you guys have been great partners to us over the years to kind of help us grow and be a part of all of those different aspects. And, all the resources that you guys give, or just the ability to pick up that phone and get some different advice, whether it's directly related or it's just, hey, it's another day as an entrepreneur. How's your day
Yeah.
going?
Yeah.
Or how are the kids, or whatever it might be. What's that balance of being a dad and being in the trenches today? And, hey, it was a good day because sales were good, or hey, it was a bad day because, it's just a rough market. So I think those things are, I don't think enough people look at it as a partnership. I think they look at it too transactionally.
Yeah.
And it's, what can you just provide for me because I'm that paying customer? And I think that's an undervalued aspect, that it goes both ways. And you guys have also shown a great appreciation for me. I'm pretty sure you text me on almost every holiday and all of those things. So it's just those little things. And I don't think that it's because you're like, oh, this is just, something I should do so that Carlos does mail next month. I think it's because you actually care. And then just different resources that you guys have provided, not because you had to. So I think that partnership has been something that is a added bonus that wasn't part of the package.
I like that. That's how I prefer to look at it too. And it's, if I look back at all of the people we've worked with, the tens of thousands of people over the last 5-6 years, the people that are consistent and stick around are the ones that treat it like a partnership.
Yeah.
People that grow and are getting to where they're at, is it's they're not afraid to ask the questions, or like, hey, I need help on this. This isn't working. What do I do differently? Instead of, you didn't get me leads. Why?
Yeah.
Like it's a totally different conversation on how you go about that. So I completely agree with that.
Well, it's, it's always hard, right? Because it's like, we've got sellers who are great, we've got investors who buy our deals that are great, and you've got the not so great ones too. So it's like, you want good partnerships. I'm not sure that I should curse on here, but we have a policy for not working with not so nice people. We
Yeah.
have, and we cancel those people from our systems when they're not so nice. So it's, you want to work with good people, and I think that's been an underrated thing that you don't know until you get into it. And that's why we're still here. And I've been holding out for that soup date that's
Yep.
coming up. So
I love it. How much, just out of curiosity, how many pieces of mail are you guys doing a month now?
I want to say we're spending like in the 70 to 80,000 range, somewhere in that range.
That sounds about right. I couldn't remember exactly where it is, but I knew it was somewhere around there.
Yeah, and with all these things, it's like a caveat of like, it's never, to your point, to me, it's never enough.
Right.
And there's two things to be said too. It's like, I don't want to be a flash in the pan, right? Like, I would rather be consistent, instead of coming to you and being like, I'm going to send 150 this month and then never appear again. Like, I'd rather be the guy who never misses a month, and know that we're going to be the last one standing and still keep going. And we've increased, and also increasing smart. And I think that's been the cool thing too, is like, yeah, like, I think every mailhouse provider would love to see like just an increase in quantity, but you've seen us increase also smartly, and knowing that that's going to keep us around longer. Instead of just pushing me to push volume, you've pushed us to also be smarter in our data selection and how we're doing certain things. And I can come to you and say, hey, I want to do this data manipulation thing, and you'll give me an honest answer, not because it leads to more mail volume, because it's the smarter move for the business, and it creates longevity and consistency, rather than maybe that short term, like, hey, maybe I'll get him to crank out another 20, 30,000 pieces, but he might not be here next month.
I would say it's not sustainable doing that.
Yeah, exactly. And we've done that. We've cranked out like major months, and then it doesn't. I would rather be that consistent, because I think that's how you stay standing. And I think that's the difference between some investors who are just like, I want instant results. And so do I. Like, I want everything yesterday. But what really helps build and grow the business is staying consistent, and that ability to grow smartly and to do those things long term, I think, are those difference makers.
Got it. Nice. Well, if coming up to our time here, but I've got two final things for you. One is, if another business owner was considering us that you were talking to, what would you say to them, or how would that conversation go?
I've had this conversation multiple times
Okay.
because I've recommended so many people, and it's like my biggest thing is like I don't like recommending anyone if I don't believe that it would be beneficial for them. So it's like I'm happy to always take my time. So like I mean this in sincerity. I have no idea like where this will be used, but like call me, slide in my DMs on MySpace or Instagram. But like it's one of those things where everything that I said is true. There's no, I don't know if we put any disclaimers or anything anywhere. Like I've been paid to do this. I pay Ballpoint to do my
Right.
mail. So like I don't get any discounts or get paid to do this. Do it because they're really good and do a great job. And I wouldn't recommend anyone else to a company that, and ironically, I'd be recommending some of my competitors to go use them. But I believe that much in it. And I also want to see Ballpoint succeed and keep growing and doing all those great things because you want to see that for good people. And I think when you work with good companies, you don't want to gatekeep them. So I think that's my honest reaction is giving that glowing review and hopping on this call, right? Like I wouldn't do this call if I didn't believe in what I was doing with you guys or be here for 2 years. So I think that's more of the testament to it. If I was like, hey, we're a month in and so far, it'd been great, but almost 2 years, that's longer than a lot of people's marriages these days. So
Yeah. 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 Well, awesome. No, that's great. If you what I guess my last question is what final parting words of wisdom do you have just in general for real estate investors that are watching this video? Doesn't have to be about us, just business in general. Like what's you got anything?
I think you know what it's going to be. It's
Probably.
everything is figure outable.
Dude, I
Um,
told somebody that this morning.
perfect. And it's one of my favorite things. I don't have any tattoos. If I got a tattoo, it would probably be that. And I think it's just that. No matter what's plaguing you, whether it's business, family, health, money, whatever it is, everything is figure outable, and you can get through all of these things most of the time with a positive mindset. And sometimes that sounds like a bunch of BS and fluff, but if you really sit back, like you've been through your worst days before and
Yeah.
you're still here. So I do firmly believe in that. And anyone who sits back and says that everything is roses and cupcakes, they're full of it.
Yep.
Whether that's business, personal, all those things, everything you see on Instagram or the highlight reel, talk to real people. And I think the proper people in your circle will let their guard down. And I'm a firm believer in letting my guard down because then other people do around me as well. So I just like to think like whenever faced with adversity, I can figure it out. So can other people. So parting three words are everything is figure outable. And you may have seen that one coming because we've talked about it a lot. But
I had a feeling, but yeah, I literally talked to somebody about that this morning, and I say that constantly. Well, I don't say constantly, but when I have rough weeks, I'm like, it's figure outable.
yeah, one
Everything
day
is figure outable.
I'll get the neon back here for it. But it's just something I firmly believe in, and if it helps one person, it's worth it.
Awesome. Well, cool, man. I really appreciate you hopping on and doing this. This was super helpful. And yeah, thanks for everyone who watched.
Anytime.